Hi, it's Terry Rose here. I want to address some questions that I've been getting recently about God. And of course, I always get those comments from people that have the answers. They really believe that they do have the answers and that what they believe is right. So this is not to justify, it's not to even comment on any of that. Some of the questions I believe are honest questions, people that really have concerns. So this is just to tell you what I believe right now, what I feel because of my experiences. So I just want to address some of those things. The biggest concern being usually, where does God come into all of this, and what about God's will? And this is in reference to my stories, my 7 stories that anybody can get at my website, peaceofsuccess.com. So generally, these are people that have requested that story, and they're asking these questions before they really read the stories or listen to them. So hopefully it is answered, because that's what my stories are about, really explaining what I feel. But I do want to make this video just to specifically address some of those things. The only way that I can answer that is to tell you my experience. And the point that I make over and over is, I'm not saying my experiences and my beliefs are right. I'm just saying that that's what I believe because of my experiences right now, and I am completely open to other things. And when people come aggressively and start telling me what I should believe and what I should think, the only thing that I say to them is, please pray for me then. Pray for my enlightenment. Don't pray that I come to what you believe, but pray for my enlightenment. If I'm wrong, I want to know that. But this is my experience. When I grew up, I was taught that there was a mean, judging God. That was everything that I did was being ledgered. It was being written down, and I was going to have to account for things. So basically, if I didn't live the way and think and believe and do what I was told by people in authority that believed a certain way, then I was going to be punished and I was going to go to hell. That's what I believed. And as I grew older, I saw these things that were going on in their lives, the way that they didn't live what they were teaching me. And I had some experiences that caused me to get very bitter, and I turned against God and religion and during my teenage years and said there can't even be a God. None of this is true. What I'm seeing, what I've been told, there's just things that don't make sense to me. Then I had my near-death experience. And around that time, too, I was really in my search because of an experience with my mom's twin and her death, and hearing that story and hearing how she knew she had to get home. I was really searching out answers to figure out how that could be true. How could she know that? So I ran into books like Think and Grow Rich and a lot of things about the power of creating a visualization, having a belief, being clear about your goals. So I started really experimenting and playing with that, and I found, yeah, it does make a difference when I create images in my mind and I really focus my energy and attention in certain directions. So I began to have these experiences that showed that it really did make a difference what I thought and believed, and at the same time I became more and more bitter about people telling me what to believe about God but not living it, telling me I'm a child of God and God loved me, but yet everything was about punishment in the aspect of a threat when I was doing something wrong. Then I had this near-death experience in the 70s, and during that time, it just wasn't my experience. What I saw was not what I was taught at all. So I came back very, very confused, but very absolutely convinced that it wasn't this mean, judging God. And because it was this great being of love that I saw, it changed everything for me. It made me a better person. So that's all that I can look at. My experience made me a better person. So the people that want to tell me that, it was the devil and there's no truth to it, and the only way that it's real is when you, get to the Father through the Son, Jesus Christ, all these things, that may be very well true, but there may be some truth in that also fits with what I believe at this time. I believe that Jesus Christ did walk the earth, but everything you learn about Jesus Christ, he acted out of love. My belief is you have to have love in your heart to get to the Father. It doesn't necessarily mean because I didn't see Jesus Christ. I saw an older man, the figure of an older man, that absolutely let me know that I am a child of the light of God. The light was the pure, absolute love, the the ultimate feeling that you could ever experience. So it makes sense to me that the more I love, the more I have compassion, the more I forgive people, the more I don't judge people, the closer I come to that light. So that's what my concern is, just loving people. There's so much that I don't understand, but I do know that what I saw was a great being of love that took on the image of an older, grandfatherly image for me to be able to relate to, but also that the real essence of that being was this absolute being of light. It was made of this light, this pure energy of love and light, and that the real essence of me is made of that same thing. I'm not saying that I have the power of God. It's not my small little ego. That, you know, the more I have an ego, the more I think that it's me and it's my power, then the more I'm removing myself from that light and those feelings. I tell everybody, you know, when I'm coaching and working with people, look at everything in with the idea that you're either in love, you're creating love energy of the highest vibration, or you're creating fear energy. Fear comes from being afraid of God. I believe that separates us when we believe we're going to be judged. It doesn't mean that we're not accountable for our actions, but I believe that the way that plays out, not this mean God that's judging, just like what I saw in my experience, I wasn't seeing good things. I wasn't acting the way I wanted. I would have wanted to act knowing what I know now, and that I would want other people to act just, you know, out of love and doing things out of kindness. I was bitter, I was hateful, I was resentful, and I felt that inside. I was still, you know, everybody didn't see that was around me. I hid that, a lot of that inside, and I was still nice to people, but I mean, the real way that I felt inside was just angry all the time and trying to figure out things and trying to make sense of things. So my car wreck showed me God is a God of love, and I am made of that same essence. And what's important to me is that I love people and that I do forgive. So people that are asking me, where is God in all this? It says all through the Bible, without vision the people perish. And I completely stopped doing anything with this for a while, doing anything with my visualization or creating different goals and using this, because it did scare me. I allowed people to convince me at one point in my life that it was evil. But then, as I got around the year 2000 and all these studies came out about the brain and all these things that were different than everything that we have been taught to believe and that we understood because of the technology available, we know that when you think things and feel that when you're actually creating images and you're having these thoughts and feelings, and they're creating, you know, they stir up emotions, and those emotions release chemicals, and you have a physiological shift, and you either go into fear and your cells shut down, or you stay open in love and they're healing. There's been so many studies that show the emotions of love, they affect your DNA. They cause your DNA to relax and be improve the state of your DNA. So I look at all of those things, and it doesn't make sense to me when someone tells me that I have to believe a certain thing and that I have to be afraid of God, which is actually causing my cells to shut down. And in my belief, it's moving me further away from that essence of what I saw, that pure love that I saw. It just doesn't make sense to me. So that's okay. If it makes sense to you, then go with it. You know, I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm only making this an answer to people that are really asking me, because I went through those fears. I really had to look at that for years of my life, and I really analyzed it to think, it just doesn't make sense. What makes sense to me, the only thing I do know now that makes sense to me is love and forgive. And what I teach people in my coaching, when you reach that state of coherence, when you stop the fight or flight reaction in your physical body, you're actually, your whole system goes into a pattern that is in a coherent pattern. It's all working together. That's how we were created. And when you are in that state, and then you work on your goals and you create your visions, these miracles just happen. I believe that's the way that we were created, and that's the way that we are intended to live our lives. So if that's helpful, hopefully it is. I'm constantly looking for new information, and every day my question is, what is there that I need to see that I am not seeing? I ask my God, you know, the beliefs that I have about this tremendous being of love. I ask, what is it that I'm not in alignment with? What do I need to see? What am I not understanding so that I can become a better person? So pray for me if you don't share my beliefs. Pray for my enlightenment. That's all I ask. But when people tell me the things that I need to believe, it doesn't make sense. Hi, it's Terry Rose here. I want to address some questions that I've